Hi, ready for some more self-care tips for this month's challenge? Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to Keeping Your Heart, the place where we explore ways that we can keep our hearts open and engaged as we walk alongside others. My name is Renee, and I am so glad that you are here. If this is the first time and you haven't subscribed yet, then you can click down below and check the little bell so that you can be notified when new videos come up or I go on YouTube Live. So welcome to week 3 of the March 2019 Self-Care Challenge. If it's not March 2019 at the time that you're watching this, that's okay. You can still download that free resource at the link below and check out what we're doing at reneemdupuis.com so that you can catch up with what we're doing here in this space. This channel is all about the ways that we are looking at staying in the game, keeping our hearts open as we are walking alongside, living life, and caring for people who are experiencing trauma, loss, illness, and other things that are costly and are best healed in community, which is pretty much everything. So if you are in that caregiving journey, this is the channel for you to learn all kinds of things. So today we're going to go through 7 practices for this 3rd week in March and looking at what might be added or taken away or adjusted in your self-care routine. So let's get to it. Practice number 1. Text 5 people in your life with precious memories of your time together. So why this practice? Sometimes when we've been traveling alongside others and it's been a really difficult season or set of circumstances and we find ourselves in a lot of distress, there's something that happens with the trauma that we're experiencing. The trauma is the feeling overwhelmed and that we can't cope in the immediate set of circumstances of difficult things. And if that continues in us, and we're taking that on as a secondary or vicarious trauma, then it starts to write this lie on us, this lie that it's never going to end. And then if we reach out to others, we have a connection that reminds us that there are people out there that helps to remind us and increase our resiliency because we understand that we are not alone, that we have community. The memories that things were different at another time and that they can be different again. It just tells the truth against that lie that is written. So pick out your 5 people and send them a message today and let them know how precious they are to you. Number 2. Try a new fruit or vegetable. Okay, so here's the thing. None of us eat enough fruits or vegetables. If you're like one of the few people on this planet who do, please comment below how it is that you get all of your fruits and vegetables in, and we would love to learn from you. But you know, half of our plate every time we sit down for a big meal is supposed to be fruits or vegetables, mostly vegetables, and that's just not something I'm getting to. I'm not getting my 9 servings a day. It's just not happening. So how do I change that? Sometimes I need to wake my palate up a little bit, and I got that way through kale. There was a time I did not like kale at all, but it was a watermelon kale salad with sunflower seeds that changed it for me, and now I sort of can't get enough. I actually really like to eat it at least 3 times a week. It's one of my favorite things. Everyone in the house knows it, and they're like, great, kale again. But find that thing. Go to the farmer's market or to the grocery store and pick out something that you've never had before. This is a great time to try that new recipe that you were looking at last week to say, maybe I can increase my palate or my joy in that. And maybe you're gonna find out that you really don't like things like rutabagas. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had a rutabaga, but whatever that thing happens to be. So exploring something that's new, tasting something that's new, and seeing if you just can't increase your fruits and vegetables because it's just good for you. Number 3. So this is hard as a YouTuber for me to ask you to take a day off from screens, but maybe we can do this. Maybe we can find a day that we can not look at our screens. And why this is important for us is that there are certain stressors about knowing that you have to respond to something or feeling that you need to pick up your phone or look at something to distract yourself from the discomfort that you're feeling in a situation. So for me, the practice of not having my phone is really about coming to terms with what is that is really distressing me, and why am I letting the phone dictate how I'm dealing with it, versus me finding something that can be constructive, like maybe dealing with the issue or finding something else that can be creative. So this is a great time that you can check in with other people, that you can play a game, you can read a book, you can take a nap, whatever it is for the speed of your life. And I get it, not everyone can do this. And for those of us who have kids from hard places, it's really hard for us not to have our phones, because we know that at any minute we can get an emergency phone call. So maybe it's not feasible for you to take a whole day. Maybe it's just setting time aside and saying, it's going to be okay if I don't have this as my distraction or as my crutch or as the thing that is helping me to calm down. I can find another coping mechanism that can actually bring me closer into connection with those around me, with nature, with spirituality, whatever it happens to be. So that's going to be pretty hard for all of us, but we can always try it. Number 4. So, when's the last time that you colored something? What's really cool is in the last few years, it's been a little more okay for adults to color. There's adult coloring books in all kinds of stores and lots of things on YouTube and other Pinterest and other places that will show you how you can color as an adult. What's really neat about this is the opportunity to create some beauty, to give your own touch and flair to something that's just simple lines drawn on a paper. What if this isn't your deal? Well, maybe drawing would be great for you, and if not, maybe even creating a pattern. Whether that pattern is done with pen and paper or marker, or this one is really weird, but maybe picking up a piece of paper and folding it up and cutting patterns in with the scissors. Like any way that you can create a pattern and see some kind of order or beauty brought to something like paper. Number 5. Okay, so this one is going to be a little bit more of a challenge for me in the morning. I am not a morning person. Everyone who knows me knows this, right? But the idea here is to take one of your favorite beverages and to go watch the sunrise or the sunset. So usually sunsets are a little hard for me just because of traveling, when I'm traveling and family time and that type of thing. But I've seen a nice collection of sunsets over the years. Not so much with the sunrises. So this for me is going to be a little harder, but I'm hoping that it will be as filling and spiritual for me as the sunsets are. I know that during sunsets, I have a great sense of gratitude that I get to see the colors play across the sky. It reminds me that there's this whole great big world out there, separate from me, and that the things that I am doing today, the things I am dealing with today, it reminds me that there is a pattern and there is a cycle, and that there's a brand new day for any mistakes that I may have made or anything that I have dealt with. Tomorrow I can wake up and we can try this again. And so that's for me a promise of the opportunity for something better, and it's where a lot of my hope is. So I can do that in the morning too and say, look at this beautiful day, look at the light, hear the sounds, see the colors, drink my cup of coffee, because you know I'm a coffee girl, and start the day. So which are you going to pick? Number 6, identifying your stressors. So the reason why this one is important is so that we can really come to terms with the ways that we are distracting ourselves out of dealing with the things that are stressing us out. It's a natural defense mechanism for us to avoid or try not to engage when things are stressful for us, but it usually just pushes the problem further away. So one of the things that you can do is you can stop and look at your calendar and note those times and days and events that you see on your calendar where you start to get a little pit in your stomach, or maybe it's something that you can feel your heart rate increase or your breathing increase, and you realize that's a stressful thing for you. So what do you do with that? One of the things that you can do is think about, how can I adjust this? Maybe if I do this at another time of day when I've been able to really build up my reserves or I've increased my capacity, maybe that's the right time to do it. Maybe it's something where you have a skills deficit, where you don't feel very confident or like that you can address the issue because you don't feel like you have all the things you need to be equipped. So maybe increasing your skills will help to give you a little bit more comfort. And maybe it's an issue of preparation. Maybe for you, knowing what's going to happen and being able to prepare yourself to be mindful before you engage with that thing will give you the things that you need internally to address the issue without feeling so much stress. So this is a great time to look at that. If looking at your calendar, if that's not how your brain works, or that doesn't work for you, maybe just taking a look at the next 3 days and writing down all of the things that you have to do and noting which ones get you, which one you're like, ugh, I really don't wanna. And let that tell you a little bit about what's going on with you and why is it that you don't want to do that thing? What is it that's stressing you out? Sometimes it can be a transition coming from one place to another. Maybe it is a certain person that you know you're engaging with and you know that you got to get yourself right before you can do that, or it may not be a healthy interaction. So this is just a great way to tell yourself the truth about what's going on with you and then look for a way to solve that issue. Number 7, drinking more water. So I have a lot of people in my life that just don't like water. A lot of them live with me and they just really don't like the water. But here's the thing, we really need water. We can go without a lot of things in life, but water is not one of them. Did you know that by the time that you are thirsty, you already are dehydrated, have lost 2% body mass, and have 10% deficit in your cognition? Cognition, that's the thinking part. All right, so if we're supposed to be solving problems and being mindful and walking alongside people and taking care of ourselves and doing the things that we need to do in this world, and this part's not fully functioning, maybe we need to adjust something. So how do we drink the water if it's something that we don't really like? Well, one idea is to infuse the water with a couple of drops of essential oils. You'll want to check for drug interactions because some of us are on medications for which grapefruit is a big no-no, but finding that thing. So for you, if it could be lemons or limes or oranges or grapefruits, if that's available to you, that might be a great way to put some pep in your step in the morning to help with some digestion, because those things will for sure, and to brighten up your experience of water. If that's not your thing, maybe infusing with fruits. I find that strawberries work really well for this, as if you slice them and infuse them in water. You can find all sorts of things online about how exactly to do that, to refresh your water, sometimes cucumbers, sometimes citrus. Finding that thing, maybe mint, that will help you to have a little different flavor in your water and drink as much as you're supposed to. Now here's how you figure out how much you're supposed to drink. You take whatever is your weight. So for this example, I'll use 150 pounds. And then you say 150 pounds equals 150 liquid ounces. Stick with me. And then you divide that by 2, so that it's 75. So 75 ounces is your recommended daily allotment that you should be consuming your 150 pounds. So see that? So it's pounds goes to fluid ounces, divide that in half, and then you get how many ounces you're supposed to consume in a day, okay? I promise there's no higher level math than that going on in this channel, at least today. So there are 7 ways that you can continue to explore things that might be part of your self-care practice and your routine. Let me know what things are working out for you. Let me know if you are not getting up for sunrises. Let me know if you like this video by giving me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't before. You can check out some more videos about the self-care practices here and some more about some things that are happening over here. And you can click on that little circle to subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Don't forget to keep your heart. Bye.